To Andre through the tempered glass, they all look like disfigured monsters. Twisted, corrupted, shapeless. I rotate the decanter in my hand and the whiskey sloshes sideways, drowning the demons that mingle before me. If I wanted to kill these men, it would be as easy as that. The tilt of my hand. The clenching of my jaw. A thought barely uttered. Sometimes I wonder why I don't just wipe them all out and get it over with. Then I remember. It would be too easy. And I need a fucking challenge. Fuck, I grumble, reclining back in my chair. The decanter hits the table. I replace it with my refilled Glencairn glass, swirling it in my fingertips as I carelessly listen to the conversation flowing around the dining hall. From my throne at the head of the huge table, it all just sounds like thoughtless chatter. We might as well be on the dance floor downstairs, trying to talk among all the club goers who came to Silo 247 for a mindless good time. But that's never been my scene. And outside of this private lounge and my office behind it, the club is useless to me. Almost as useless as most of these men. Bringing the glass to my lips, I let my gaze travel over the table. My distinguished guests stretch out all the way to the other side of the room, eating my food, drinking my booze, breathing my air. For the most part, they fill me with a simmering disgust. Leeches. But there are two people in this room who I respect. And they're the only things keeping me sane right now. The first of them sits directly behind me, watching my back with undying loyalty. Without turning around, I can sense his sympathetic anger. Valentin Konstanov, my second in command. He seethes over my shoulder, each breath like a low growl. If I decided to massacre the room, he'd be the first to jump in, but only after making it a competition to see who could get the most kills. Then, there's Ilya Rykov. My guest of honor. He may be new to this bratva, but he's done more for me since arriving in Chicago than almost anyone else here. The man is a twisted genius. A cybersecurity expert. And one dark motherfucker. He'll fit in well, as long as he stays on his toes. These other fuckers, though, they think they can get by on ass kissing alone. I see them side-eyeing me, silently pleading for my approval. They won't get it at a dinner party, and it's pathetic that they even think they could. Everyone here should know better. They're from the same violent world as me. But where I rose up the ranks to strangle fate by the throat, they're still waiting for handouts. It's pathetic. My reign has been too good for them. They've gotten comfortable. I've gotten bored. Excuse me, Packen, but I must go. I hardly even flinch as one of the men from my South Bronx branch gets up from his seat. Ivan, I think his name is. The fool must be drunk because he immediately starts making his way toward me. Before he can get anywhere close to my throne, though, Valentin springs into action. What the hell do you think you're doing? My second in command barks, grabbing the fool by his shoulders. The room goes silent, but the pounding bass leaking through the walls muffles the rest of the exchange. Valentin yells in the guy's ear. I catch something about proper protocol. When the guy doesn't back down, Dima, Valentin's personal enforcer, gets up too. The two men block off his path. I gently place my glass on the table and stand up. What's the problem here? I ask, stepping between my two guards. No problem, Packen, Ivan cows, practically bowing before me. I just wanted to say my farewells and got a little eager. For that, I apologize. I meant no disrespect. Valentin steams next to me. I can tell he wants to use this as an excuse to break some skulls, but I know better. No matter how bored I am, there's no point in making an enemy out of an ally. Apology accepted, I nod. Lifting my hand, I allow Ivan to take it. He holds onto me with shaking fingers and dips so low his knees nearly hit the ground. Now go. The second I pull my hand back, Valentin steps between us. He whispers something in Dima's ear and the enforcer stiffens. I sit back down and watch as Ivan finally allows himself to be escorted away, his legs wobbly with fear and shame. With a tense silence still gripping the room, Dima leads him out the door. Valentine returns to my side and casts a stern warning glance around the table. No one moves until Dima returns. Still, the tension remains until I take a long sip of my whiskey. Only then does the table relax. Conversation returns. These things happen. If anything, everyone here is glad that I have so much restraint. The last Pacan didn't, and it's why I had to overthrow him. Another sip of whiskey makes me sink deeper into my seat. Now even Valentine can tell that I'm bored out of my mind. Standing up from his seat, he snaps his fingers at two servers waiting by the edge of the table. They nod and eagerly make their way to the front of the lounge, disappearing behind two swinging doors. A second later, those same doors burst back open and a flood of scantily clad models strut in. With painted smiles, they spread around the table. My greedy guests light up. Just like that, the attention is taken off of me. Not a single man here can resist these kinds of treats. The chatter builds. Girls are waved over, hollered at, pulled onto laps. Kisses are shared. The tone in the room changes for the better. But that doesn't mean I'm interested. Not even when a few of the bolder girls head directly for my throne. Everyone here knows who I am, including and two actually manage to slip past the crowd until they're close enough to touch my shadow. Unsurprisingly, Valentine doesn't try to stop them. The cocksucker. Polina and Yana, Valentine whispers, leaning into my ear. We've met before, I remind him. I know the names. My mistake, Pacan. The two girls flank my chair. It's so good to see you again, Pacan, Yana smiles. But the second she slips her hands inside my jacket, I stand up and step aside. Tonight isn't about me, I warn them. Do your jobs. Entertain the guests. They should know better by now. I've had my fill of easy girls. The problem is, my world is filled to the brim with easy girls. They flock to me the same way these other sheep do. I'm sick of it. Just like I'm sick of everyone in this room. We'd rather entertain you, Polina flutters her lashes. Do your job, I growl, perhaps a little too loudly. Silence falls over the lounge as I turn to leave, but the conversation restarts the second I walk out the door. None of those idiots can resist a beautiful girl. Neither could I, until they became just another thing to collect. That's what happens when you reach the top. There's nowhere to go anymore, nowhere but down. With a bullish huff, I turn down the corridor. What the hell is wrong with me? I used to starve for parties. For sex. But now that I have all the money in the world and access to any girl I could ever want, it all seems so inconsequential. So useless. So goddamn infuriating. I want something more. I need something more. And it's not just because I'm getting old enough to marry, or that I'm starting to think about my legacy and how to pass this whole conquered empire down. It's the isolation. I used to have a band of brothers I'd kill for, fight for, die for. Now, all I have is a kingdom, and I sure as hell wouldn't die for it. Shit, I might not even be able to bring myself to marry for it. And that's more infuriating than it is sad, because I'm trapped by the inevitability of it all. In the end, the only way my hard work will pay off is if I have an heir to carry it all on, and I can't have an heir unless I marry. It's a problem I haven't been able to figure my way out of. Maybe that's where all of this rage stems from. I'm too rich to enjoy the company of anyone, and too powerful to be at the mercy of anything. Yet here I am, slowly being crushed under the weight of tradition. Lost in my thoughts, I wander over to the stairwell. Part of me almost wants to go down to the club floor and pretend to check up on the place, anything to keep me busy. But I already know everything will be fine. It always is. My empire runs smoothly. That's how I designed it. Now, I'm starting to regret that. Perhaps it's time I do something reckless. The idea swirls around my head as I step out onto the mezzanine overlooking the dance floor. Below, the young and the rich are having their mindless fun. It's almost enviable. But the longer I look, the less I want anything to do with them. Behind all their bright clothes and glittering jewelry is the same emptiness that haunts me. I glare at them with disdain. Every last one of them is the same. Then, my gaze falls on something that doesn't quite fit. My focus narrows. Among all the designer suits and high-fashion dresses is a little slip of washed-out black. The modest dress is wrapped around a petite body and split in half by a drape of golden hair. Something kicks in my chest. My brow raises. My lips curl. The criminal in me is immediately suspicious. The girl's body language sits in stark contrast to everyone else's. She isn't carefree. She isn't mindless. Those shining blue eyes dart back and forth, filled with a million conflicted thoughts. A spy. Without thinking, I lean forward, eager for a closer look. She looks uncomfortable, and shockingly innocent. My suspicion melts. Intrigue grips my entire body. To my surprise, I feel a small smile relax my curled lips. You don't belong here, little dear. Resting my elbow on the railing, I watch as she goes through the motions. It quickly becomes clear that she's not alone. A group of friends surround her, but unlike her, they clearly belong in a place like this. They sway with a familiar, flashy mindlessness, covered in the designer brands. I observe as they order a round of drinks, knock back a few shots, and then scatter. My little dear stays in place, though. And I can't help but study her. That's a Russian girl, I tell myself. The chiseled cheekbones and soft pale skin make it undeniable. But she's not bone thin for the same reason everyone else here is. She's starving. I know the look well, and the feeling. How long has it been since I've been that hungry? My empty chest starts to rumble. I cock my head to the side and sink into the strange admiration I find in this curious little stranger. She reminds me of a happier, more desperate time. But that's not all she inspires in me. Something far less pure spikes my blood as I look closer. It's not just that she's uncomfortable or that she's filled with countless conflicting thoughts. It's that none of those thoughts seem to be about this place, about trying to fit in. She isn't trying as hard as the other girls. In fact, she isn't trying at all. Those crystal blue eyes keep racing around like she's looking for an escape hatch. She doesn't want to be here. She doesn't want to be part of this world. Hell, she might not even want me. The thought is exhilarating. I rumble. A challenge. For the first time in a long time, I feel like going down into that throng of people and pulling one out. For a brief moment, I'm the man I was before all the power. I'm hungry. Starving. The things I would do to that tiny frame, I think, licking my lips. But would she let me? I love that I don't know the answer to that question. Look my way, little dear, I whisper. Come to me. Before she can follow my silent command, though, I spot trouble heading her way. Don't you fucking dare, I hiss, pushing myself off my elbows. My fingers clench into fists as a familiar goon starts pushing his way down the bar. Mike Spolansky. The drunk has a history of causing small-time trouble at this club. The only reason we keep letting him back in is because it makes for easy blackmail. His dad owns half the buildings downtown, and by now, we get about half of the rent paid to those buildings. But if he does anything to my mysterious little dear, he won't be able to buy himself out of the trouble I bring down on him. Grabbing back onto the railing, I squeeze until my knuckles turn white. I'm already prepared to run down when Mike stumbles up to my Russian beauty. Of course he does. He can smell blood in the water. He thinks she's weak. Well, are you? Somehow, I stop myself from racing downstairs. Instead, I suppress the urge to protect, and I lean back down on the railing to observe. Something tells me this girl is stronger than she looks. I want her to be stronger than she looks. So, I give her a chance to prove it. Still, my teeth grind back and forth as Mike tries to talk to her. No matter how strongly she shakes her head, that dipshit won't take the hint. Then, he grabs her. I tense up, but force myself to stay put. To my delight, she shoves him off and looks wildly around. Suddenly, those beautiful blue eyes find mine. Just like that, the rest of the club vanishes. My gut tightens. She practically sparkles in a spotlight all of her own. Part of me expects her to grin or smirk or flirt the way another girl might. But there's no sign she knows who I am. How fucking delicious. My heart thrills at that thought. I swallow and bite down on my lip. She doesn't know who I am. I'll have to change that. Slowly, the club pulses back around me, but I stay laser focused on the girl who's captured my attention. With a new fire burning inside of me, I lift my hand and do what a god does when he wants something. I tell it to come to me. My fingers curl as I beckon her. Time freezes. For a split second, I'm not sure if she'll follow my order. It's such a novel doubt that the entire world suddenly feels new. All I can do is watch with anticipation as a cloud crosses her pointed little face. Oh, the fun I could have with you. Then, the spell is broken. That bastard Mike distracts her and she looks back down at him. I'm nearly ready to write her off when she points up at me. With a sneer that makes my cold heart jump, she ducks around Mike and rushes into the crowd. Without a second thought, I push myself off the railing and head for the stairs. It doesn't matter if she's coming to me. I'm going to get her.